Hi, welcome to my video on the power of a product of exponentials. So notice we have xy squared, so that's an xy times xy. And because I'm multiplying, we add 1 and 1 is 2, and we have y times y is y squared because you add the exponents. Notice you have two different before we had all x's or all y's or all a's, but now we have x's and y's. So when you cube it, you get ab times ab times ab. Notice that this is all put together. So that's the same as a times b times a times b times a times b. And if you want to, you can put all the a's together and all the b's together, because multiplication is associative. You can mix them all up. Repeat. So if I multiply 2 by 3 by 4, I'm going to get 6 times 4 is 24. So if I multiply 2 by 4 by 3, I'm still going to get 8 times 3 is 24. Or if I multiply 4 by 2 by 3, no matter how I multiply, when there's all multiplication, I always get the same answer. So a times a times a is a cubed, because you 1 plus 1 plus 1. And b is 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So that's the same as a cubed times b cubed. When you put the variables a and b close to each other, there's a multiplication understood. And the third one is v squared t squared multiplied by itself again, because when you square, you multiply by itself. And that gives you v, 2 plus 2 is 4, and t, 3 plus 3 is 6. And this one, f to the fourth g to the 5 cubed, f to the fourth g to the 5, f to the fourth g to the 5, f to the fourth g to the 5. And begin your multiplying, so that's f, 4 plus 4 plus 4, 3 fours are 12, and 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. And we have the, but notice, a shortcut, instead of writing it all down out like this, a shortcut is to, that's a 1 and a 1. So if you multiplied the 1 by the 2, it's like a power of a power. So this 2 is distributed into here. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2. And that's a 1 and a 1. So 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 1 is 3. Over here, in the third one, we have 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. And right here, we have a power of a power again. The 3 is multiplied by the 4 to give you 12, and the 3 times 5 is 15. So it's the power of a power, but it's just more bases in here to multiply by. So the rule for a power of a power is, that's a 1 and a 1. So that's an a to the m, b to the m. The m is multiplied by both exponents here. Excuse me. And right here I have, now instead of a 1, I got an x, which could be a 2 and a 4 or 7 and an 8 or whatever. So this is a to the x times m, x, m. B to the y times m. So let's practice some of these. The power of a power, you still multiply it by the powers on the inside. So 1 times 4 is 4. That's a 1. 1 times 4 is 4. And x is the base. 3 times 2 is 6. Power of a power. And 5 times 2 is 10, because it's a power of a power. A is the base. 4 times 6 is 24. And 3 times 6 is 18. Power of a power. And before we start, notice I put a 1 there. It's always understood to be a 1. So A, 2 times 3 is 6. B, 1 times 3 is 3. C, 15. 5 times 3. Power of a power. And there's a 1 understood to be there. P to the 8th, T to the 4. 2 times 4, 1 times 4. Times power of a power, that's a 1. P, 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And the f is, this f right here is D, E, F is not a part of the problem. It's just in the number that we're doing here. And because we're multiplying, we add our exponents. That's a p. So we get p. When we're multiplying, we add. When we multiply, we add. So notice the p's go with the p. The t goes with the t. F, I have to simplify the top first in this fraction. Power of a power, c to the 35. D to the 30. Bottom, c to the 33, d to the 24. So the top is simplified, we work the exponents out. Now we're dividing, so we have a c as a base. 35 minus 33 is 2, and d is 30 minus 24 is 6. And g, we have to work out our, the insides are fully done, so we have to go x, 3 times 3 is 9, y to the 2 times 3 is 6, and x, 4 times 2 is 8, and y, 3 times 2 is 6. And the bottom, denominator, x, 6, y, 12. 2 times 3 is 6, 4 times 3 is 12. Now that we have the top and bottom simplified, I will multiply the top first. Because remember, I had to do the exponents. Now I have to do my multiplication division. So I'll do the top first. X is my base. I add and get 17. Y is my base. I add and get 12. So the top is fully simplified. Now I'm dividing. I subtract. X is the base. 17 subtract 6 is 11. And y to the 12 over y to the 12, they cancel out. Or if you think about it, it's y to the 12 minus 12, which is y to the 0, which is 1. Because any number to the 0 power is 1, except 0. Can't have a 0 for that y. So you can just cancel these out like a division, like you're canceling factors of 4. Okay, let's continue. So pause your video and work these out to see if you're going to get the right answers. B to the x, 2 to the 15, power of a power, x to the 20, power of a power. Number 2, A, 3 times 2 is 6, B, 4 times 2 is 8, and that's a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. So that 2 is distributed through these powers. Number 3, x to the 8th times 3 times 6 is 18. Y, 7 times 3 is 21. Now we simplify this. We deal with the x's. X is the base. We add 26, and we do not touch the y. The y cannot combine with these because they're different bases. Number 4, let's work out the exponents first. V to the 14, W to the 21, power of a power, divided by, notice, and this is V, that's a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Now, I'm dividing this one by this one. That's what it says. So, when I divide, I subtract. 14 subtract 2 is 12. And W, when I subtract, I get a 13. 21 minus 8. So I deal with only the V's go together and the W's go together. Number 5, a power of a power. E to the 8th, H to the 4, T to the 10. 2 times 4, 2 times 2, 2 times 5. Times power of a power. 4 times 6 is 24. 3 times 6 is 18. Done. Now I'm multiplying, so I deal with only one E, base E, so leave it alone. I have H and H, so that's H multiply, I add. And I got a base of T, so I get 10 and 8 are 28. Done. Number 6, let's simplify the top first. Multiply. Power of a power, 9. Power of a power, multiply, 12. power of a power, multiply. D, power of a power, 15. The bottom, I have an A, I have a B, and I have a D. A, 4 times 2 is 8. B, 5 times 2 is 10. And that's a 1, understood? 1 times 2 is 2, so it's D squared. Now, I'm dividing. So look at the A first, top and bottom. I subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. B's, top and bottom, subtract. 12 subtract 10 is 2. C, none on the bottom, so I leave it alone. D's, subtract. 15 subtract 2 is 13. Simplified. Number 7. Let's do the power of the powers first. Here we go. 12 times 4 is 48. 4 times 9 is 36. Base is x, base is y. I have to work this power first, leaving this alone. So let's leave x to the 7, y to the 10. Work out the power. That's a 1. So that's x. 1 times 6 is 6. And y, 2 times 6 is 12. And you leave only the 6 is on the power of these. Now, let's simplify the bottom and the top. The top is done, so I can't do any more with the top, so just leave it alone. I can do the bottom. I can combine the x's. 6 and 7 make 13, and I can combine the y's to make 22, because when you multiply, you add the exponents. Now you have a top, a numerator and denominator. You will divide. You have x's on top and bottom. Subtract. 48 subtract 13 is 35. Y. You're dividing, so you subtract. That gives you 14. And that's fully simplified. So that's powers of a product. Power of a power of products. So you're just moving, the exponent goes in through here. And then you simplify by, when you multiply like basis, you add. When you divide like basis, you subtract. Obey that and you'll be okay. If you like my video, click on the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. If you wish, write a comment on my video. And visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com. And there you'll get information in different sections. The section on me has my degrees and teaching experience. The section that's about my videos has my teaching strategies that I'm going to use to help you learn the math. And the section on content has my topics and units that I'm going to have on my YouTube channel, but it also gives the number of videos that I have on each topic. And the black font is the videos that are online right now, and the red font is the videos that I'll be creating in the near future. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.